Most people treat healing like a passive waiting game, but our African ancestors understood that if you provide the right biological triggers, your body automatically switches on its healing functions. This is something that science is only just beginning to quantify. I've spent the last couple of weeks cross-referencing our oral traditions and healing practices with the current clinical journals, and I've found 5 specific foods that switch on your cellular repair mechanisms. Number 5 is a leaf that acts as a biological green steroid for your tissues. But stick around for number 1 because it is a root that turns off the biological fire that most people don't even realize is actively blocking the recovery. But you must get this last part right, otherwise your healing switch won't even activate. I'm not a doctor, I am just somebody who loves learning, and I've spent the past 10 years sharing what I learned about African foods to help other people live healthier lives. And I'm going to say it up front, I'm probably going to butcher the pronunciation of a couple of scientific words. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. Let's start with Moringa. Our African ancestors didn't just see this as another tree. They saw it and rightly called it the miracle plant. And modern science is finally beginning to understand why. Healing requires a massive amount of building materials. To repair the skin, muscle, or bone, your body must first undergo DNA synthesis, which is the process of your cells duplicating themselves to create new tissue. And this is where Moringa becomes essential. First, it's a complete protein. It has all of the 9 essential amino acids that your body cannot make on its own. You need this protein as the primary raw material for tissue repair. Secondly, Moringa leaf powder provides high concentrations of zinc. And zinc is the biological trigger for those DNA synthesizing enzymes. If your body doesn't have enough zinc, your cells simply cannot duplicate fast enough to close the wound or repair the injury. Moringa provides a heavy dose of vitamin C. Vitamin C is the essential cofactor for the collagen synthesis process. If you're eating collagen, your body still requires vitamin C to actually cross-link those fibers and to stabilize them. Without it, any new tissue that your body builds will be weak and prone to breaking again. And we also have to talk about the iron in Moringa. I want you to think of iron as the power supply to your healing switch. Healing is an energy-intensive process. Your repair cells require a constant stream of oxygen to produce the energy they need to rebuild you. Iron is the primary component of hemoglobin, which is like the delivery truck that carries the oxygen to the site of the injury. If there is no oxygen, there is no healing, period. But iron does something else. It works directly with vitamin C to stabilize the collagen. Without iron, the collagen fibers your body tries to create will be weak and unstable. The enzymes that stabilize and strengthen collagen require iron as a cofactor to function. It's important also to note that Moringa is non-heme iron. This means that it's a bit harder for your body to absorb than the iron that you would get from, say, red meat. However, nature has already solved this for us. Moringa is packed with vitamin C, which is the biological key that unlocks the plant-based iron and makes it available for our bodies to use. This makes Moringa one of the most efficient all-in-one healing plants in the world. Number 4 is Aloe Ferox. In traditional Southern African medicine, especially around South Africa, where Aloe Ferox is most documented, the same leaf is treated like it has 2 medicines inside of it. The inner gel, which is the soothing, slippery flesh, and the yellow bitter latex, which is the sap and it's strong tasting. That's the layer that's just underneath the skin. That is often dried into what are called Cape aloes. The clear gel is used as a skin healing medicine. It is applied directly onto the skin for minor cuts, burns, sunburn, irritation, rashes, often just as a fresh gel or a paste, and it is just rubbed onto the affected areas. It is used in this way because it is believed to support wound closure, and to help protect against infection. Modern medicine has done research on animals and actually found evidence that wounds do actually heal faster when you apply aloe gel directly onto them. The bitter latex is the inside healing or the cleansing medicine. The yellow bitter sap is drained, collected, and dried into hard resin called Cape aloes or aloe lumps. Historically, these have been used mainly as a strong laxative to cleanse the body and to restore balance. Scientists have now discovered that the body does what's called an immune prioritization process. If, for example, your gut is blocked up by constipation, your body stays in a state of low-grade systemic inflation. That is the fire alarm we discussed earlier. Scientists now acknowledge that by clearing your bowels with bitter latex, you are in fact removing a major source of inflammation. This allows your immune system to stop focusing on waste management in the gut and reprioritize its energy towards repairing the injury. So clearing the path effectively lets your body focus on healing. In other 2026 research into Aloe Ferox, scientists have isolated specific chromosomes like aloe resin A and aloe resin B that in fact act as a natural biological shield on wounds. Unlike standard ointments, these chromosomes are effective against multi-drug resistant bacteria. They create a sterile environment that is pro-healing, meaning they kill the bad bacteria without damaging the healthy new cells that your body is trying to build. This brings me to a critical point. Modern medicine has finally caught up to what our African ancestors have known for centuries. You cannot build a new house while the old one is still on fire. We now know that chronic gut inflammation is the source code for almost every healing delay. If your digestive system is backed up or inflamed, your body stays in defense mode. It is functionally impossible for your healing switch to stay on if you haven't removed the source of inflammation first. To help you with navigating this, I've put together a guide called African Herbs for Digestive Health. Use it to help you to clear your inflammation. You can find a link to download that ebook in the description below. Number 3 on our list is raw African honey. Our ancestors put honey onto a cut to help the wounds heal. To me, that just sounded counterintuitive because I have always known honey as a sweetener. But when you look at the chemistry of this food, it is fascinating. Honey is actually a sophisticated healing tool. Now, raw honey contains an enzyme called glucose oxidase. When honey makes contact with the fluid on a wound, it triggers a slow release chemical reaction that produces hydrogen peroxide. Unlike the bottle of peroxide in your cabinet, which can be too harsh and actually kill the healthy cells, this one provides a small, steady stream that sterilizes the area, maintaining a moist environment that allows for new cells to heal the wound much faster. But it doesn't stop there. Honey has a very low water content. It's roughly 17% water. And because of this, it has what's called high osmolarity. Osmolarity is just a scientific way of saying how concentrated a substance is. Think of it like a magnet for water. Through the process called osmosis, honey physically draws water out of the wound. Now this does two things. It pulls the fluids right out of the bacteria, effectively just dehydrating them and killing them. And 2, it reduces localized swelling. This is what helps to flip the switch for faster healing and physical comfort. One of the biggest breakthroughs in 2026 is honey's ability to break down bacterial biofilms. Bacteria often build a protective slime shield, a biofilm, over the wound that standard antibiotics cannot penetrate. New studies on African forest honey show how it physically dissolves these shields, allowing your immune system to actually reach the infection. Researchers have now identified a specific protein in raw honey called defensin-1. This is a powerful antimicrobial peptide that works alongside with hydrogen peroxide. It specifically targets superbugs that have become resistant to hospital drugs. And finally, honey is naturally acidic. With a pH between 3.2 and 4.5, Most pathogens, including the ones that cause infections, require a neutral pH to survive. So by applying raw honey, you are shifting the chemistry of the wound to an acidic state. This pH drop also triggers the release of oxygen from the hemoglobin in your blood, which is critical for turning on the healing switch for tissue regeneration. This only works on raw, unheated honey. If you use pasteurized honey from the supermarket, the heat has destroyed the glucose oxidase. You must use the raw liquid gold just as nature intended. If you found this video helpful so far, please share it with one other person you think would find it just as helpful. Number 2 on our list is baobab. This fruit is incredible for internal healing. To understand how this works, we have to look at the white blood cells, or your leukocytes. These are the essential soldiers of your immune system. They are produced right in your bone marrow to protect you against pathogens, diseases, and foreign substances. When your body is trying to heal, it is also fighting potential infection. The vitamin C and the zinc found in baobab work in a synergy loop. The vitamin C stimulates the production of white blood cells, while the zinc helps those cells to function. For those soldiers to actually deploy and fight, they need specific signals. Zinc acts as a biological general, and it is essential for the development and function of those white blood cells, making sure they can identify and destroy the invaders in your body. Without enough zinc, your immune system response is delayed, and this leaves your healing switch in the off position. When you add baobab to your diet, you are effectively building your immunity and fighting off these little microscopic invaders. This then allows your body to stop defending and to actually start building. When your body rebuilds, it requires a massive amount of vitamin C. This is what is required to create the enzyme that turns on the collagen production in your body. Collagen is the biological glue that holds your skin, your muscles, and your blood vessels together. Without this scaffolding, the repair process literally just stalls. If you don't have the specific synergy of vitamin C and zinc, any new tissue that you form is weak and it is prone to reopening because there is just not enough collagen to hold it all together. And we finally made it to number 1. This is the African ginger and turmeric combination. Here's the hard truth. Moringa, Aloe Ferox, honey, baobab cannot activate the healing switch in your body if you are in a state of high chronic inflammation. In 2026, researchers have confirmed that inflammation is controlled by a protein complex called NF-κB. Think of NF-κB as the main power switch for your body's internal defense system. When this switch is on, your body is in a state of war. In a healthy state, NF-κB just sits quietly in the cytoplasm of your cells, and it is held hostage, so to speak, by an inhibitory protein. It's like a safety release pin. However, when you are injured or under stress, the enzyme called IKK comes along and pulls that pin. Once that pin is pulled, NF-κB then rushes to the nucleus of your cell. Once it gets there, it hijacks your DNA to start printing inflammatory chemicals called cytokines. This is what creates inflammation. Think of NF-κB as a loud, blaring fire alarm. When that fire alarm is ringing, your cells are in defense mode. They are so busy trying to survive the fire that they literally cannot hear the repair signals from the zinc or from the vitamin C that we talked about earlier. This is where our African duo comes in. African ginger contains gingerol and turmeric contains curcumin. These are essentially signal jammers. They reach into your cells and they flip that NF-κB switch to the off position. By silencing the fire alarm, you are essentially giving your body permission to repair. Only when the noise from the inflammation stops can your cells finally hear the growth signals and the repair signals, and they can actually start the work of rebuilding your tissues. Here's a tip. Always add a pinch of black pepper. Black pepper contains pepperine, which actually acts as a turbocharger, increasing your body's ability to use that curcumin. Once you have stopped the inflammation, this turns on the healing because of what's called the biological priority rule. Your body cannot build and fight at the same time. If NF-κB is on, your cells are in defense mode. They are prioritizing survival, which means they ignore the signals to build collagen, which are coming from your baobab, or they ignore the signals to repair, which is coming from your moringa. By using African ginger and turmeric to flip the NF-κB position to off, you're not just reducing pain, you're actually clearing the communication lines. Only once this happens can the construction crew, the other 4 foods, finally hear the instructions to start the repair work. Our African ancestors didn't have the labs, but they had a deep understanding of nature and biology. When you choose to eat these African foods, you're not just following a diet, you are engaging in a system of wellness that has been refined for thousands of years. If you enjoyed watching this video and you want to learn more about inflammation, I think you will enjoy this next one. Thanks for your attention, and I'll see you in the next video.